Welcome to my new channel. This is Bruce the Boss Resurrected. After YouTube had nuked my previous channel, Bruce the Boss, when I was this close to a partnership agreement and the 1,000 subscribers needed, as well as watch time. So please help me regrow, rebuild, and resurrect my channel, Bruce the Boss Resurrected, like a phoenix coming back, by subscribing to this channel, interacting on the channel, by liking the videos, commenting on the videos. I do want to hear your thoughts still, as always, and respond to them. So appreciate the support. Again, like the video, comment on the video, subscribe to the channel. Now, here's the thought for today, or the topic, which is, while we're on the topic of censorship, Facebook and the thought police in action. I don't know if you've seen some of these alerts people have been posting, if you've seen it yourself. I myself have been off of Facebook since just before my birthday this past November. So I haven't seen it with my own eyes, or should I say on my own account, but I have seen the post. Take a look. For instance, they're warning individuals like this person, Christian, that you may have been exposed to harmful extremist content recently. Violent groups try to manipulate your anger and disappointment. You can take action now to protect yourself against others. Get support. We all know who they mean when they're referring to extremist groups. They're not referring to Antifa, to which they still to this day deny, because they agree with most of the targets that Antifa is attacking. We know that they're not talking about Black Lives Matter and them taking advantage of legitimate people who are concerned about real police brutality out there in the world, and taking these instances that may not actually be true police brutality, but rather police responding appropriately to the situation that was escalated by the assailant themselves for doing something illegal and then resisting arrest, forcing the officers to take more aggressive actions and taking legitimate concerns and or fears of individuals, promoting blackout days, for instance. And we all know for a fact that a lot of the protests of 2020, which was a riot in many of these cases, was apparently allowed. It's okay to cause billions of dollars in damages across the country, burning buildings, businesses, property, injuring individuals. And we also know about 23 people, at minimum 23 people were killed, mostly black individuals, including David Dorn. But that's okay. In fact, that would be whitewashed by saying it's mostly peaceful. Let's forget about the 23 plus individuals whose lives were lost, the thousands of individuals who were injured, buildings, property destroyed, and people put in fear. We'll label that mostly peaceful protest, despite the fact that you can see communities and neighborhoods burning behind you. That's not extremist. That's not problematic, because that fits the narrative and targets that we here at Facebook and the people behind that are okay with. They have no problem with Black Lives Matter. We know who they are talking about. They are talking about conservative and or libertarian accounts, and or those groups who are considered independent, like myself. And I hate labels, but that's the best I can say I fall into. I belong to no political group, but there are a lot of average and apolitical individuals or people without a true political home, who can see through a lot of the crap that's going out there in this society, in the government structure, and are critical of it. They're coming after those people, labeling only them as extremists. Forget the acts of terrorism taking place in many of these communities, buildings being burned, communities being burnt down, people living in fear during a lot of the BLM riots that occurred. That is okay. But what happened on January 6th at the Capitol building, despite the fact that there was no major serious property damage in any of the surrounding buildings in their area, no one, unlike the BLM riots, no one was killed on that day except for Ashley Babbitt against police, which, by the way, she was not only unarmed, but she was literally maybe a couple of feet in front of SWAT riot police guards who were right there behind her, who could have very easily been shot. She clearly wasn't doing anything that would have been perceived a threat by them, the riot squad who were right there behind her. Otherwise, they would have taken care of her. She was the only person that was killed. People like Brian Stickney, we still don't know exactly what his cause of death was, but it doesn't look like it was the result of any direct action by anyone there at the protest, because Brian Sicknick was perfectly fine after the events. He was texting friends and family saying, I'm good, I'm all right. Next thing you know, he collapses the following day due to some unreported medical issue, which could have been triggered by the very same tear gas that they themselves used. But I digress. Apparently an attack on the temple that is here in this country, and a lot of people don't realize how politics has become like a religion around the world. Forget Jews and Christians and Muslims and Hindus and Buddhists. You now have Tories and socialists. You have Republicans and Democrats. And their temple is now the governor's mansion and or Congress and the White House. And when you attack the temple, that is the most egregious of offense, despite the fact that you can consider terrorism within the community acts of terror, But I digress. That is considered an extremist group. Anyone who could be led part of the January 6th. So if you just support former President Donald Trump and a lot of the accusations that he has made, you're going to be considered or labeled an extremist, even if you have no intentions or plans on acting out any of your frustrations over what you feel or perceive may have transpired. You're not, over the last year, you're not allowed to have those thoughts without being considered a terrorist. And now Facebook is one step away from saying, okay, you're not even allowed to think for yourself. Let us alert your friends and family of your actions, your thoughts. We're getting very close to the point of telling on each other. So actually, we're already at that point, but we're getting to the point where Facebook will monitor everything you say and do. And if you are not in line with the correct thoughts or actions, much like the thought police of George Orwell's book 1984, you will be put in check. And your friends and family will be alerted of you and of your actions. So it's getting really dangerous, I feel, in this day and age where there's so much concentrated power in social media, the internet, and mainstream media that is trying to eliminate conversation of anything that doesn't fall in line with the approved or official narrative. Like someone once said, ignorance is still a choice, but you have forces at work that is making it almost impossible to be able to have not only any alternative thoughts or views, but to even be able to research and find out the facts for yourself, because it's about to be wiped out, censored. Again, just think back to the White Coat Summit with people like Dr. Stella Emanuel and or Dr. Simone Gold, who have been totally removed from the conversation. YouTube right now even won't allow you to talk, allow me, for instance, to even talk about any other research, medical research being done for alternative forms of treatment for COVID that may be proven minor successful. So it's getting real dangerous. We need to watch out for it, stay vigilant. I will keep trying to raise the vibrations out there, keep it positive, but also want to be thought-provoking, challenging the norms. Let me know what you think about what's going on with Facebook nowadays with the quote-unquote thought police and these new alerts in the comments down below. Don't forget to like this video, share this video, and subscribe to my channel. Help with the resurrection of the content. This is Bruce the Boss Brooks, and I'm out. Peace.